got to earn your liberation.
So before we get to Roly Poly versus Stephen A. Political's little argument over Trump, I just want to contextualize for those who forgot who Stephen A. Smith is and his centrism, that he argues that he's a centrist, and just let's just play a little clip of this clown.
Way too many countries that want socialism, right? But socialism, I wrote a chapter in my last book, Live Free or Die.
That's right.
So whatever form, manifestation, name, every time it's promised, promises are never fulfilled. It always ends in more poverty and a loss of freedom.
Let me tell you what I said. Let me tell somebody what I said in defense of you one time. I said, listen, I said, I'm a proud capitalist. I ain't apologizing for that to anybody.
We know that.
All right, that's right.
I read your contract.
I'm not, oh, there you go. I'm not apologizing for that to anybody.
Yeah.
But when you say socialism, I think there's another category. There are some people who don't oppose capitalism. They just believe that they don't have a fair and equitable shot at taking advantage of a capitalism.
And you would agree with me that any American that puts their head down, works hard, plays by the rules, provides goods and services that people want, need, and desire can succeed in this country.
They can. I think they can, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there are a lot of people that deny them.
And I love you as a friend. You're a good man.
Stephen A.
Smith.
First of all,
push him in the wall and cut him off.
what is with these black people being friends with fucking racist?
I mean, how did they even get on platform, Diallo? How did Stephen A. get on platform? He don't get on platform.
Friends. They are.
Called a fist bump.
They're not friends. This is all performance. They're not. This is performance. Okay. They're all getting the bag together.
Better, actually. Thank you.
I
think you got that reversed, Jared. You've been in DC enough to see them white boys arguing on TV and then going across the street and get a drink together. So I think it's the performances when they argue with each other.
But even to me, that's part of the performance. See now,
Geechee, I was feeling better. Now I'm feeling bad again. Are they friends or not?
No, because my point isn't so much, especially when it comes to these formations. I don't see them as actually, even when they go to across the street to have drinks and dinner, that's part of the business. When they're playing golf together, that's part of the business. They're going to these social engagements as part of the performance. It is. I don't want to. I'm almost hesitant to use the word, given how it's connected to all the conspiracy and Illuminati, but it is part of the initiation. You have to be able. You have to be able to navigate the wine and cheese discussions. You have to. Now I'm saying it.
Brands are not brothers.
Listen,
I'm saying it's more of. Go ahead.
I was just saying, shout out to my beloved brother Asafo. He had this tough struggle with his sister in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, who had a youth program that teach young people how to negotiate on the golf course, black young kids. So to change their trajectory of success, they just have to, like Jared was saying, be in those rooms and be on those fields and make those deals with no damn money, no resources, no whatever.
I think I've come up with a way to solve this capitalist delusion. We need another word for pro-capitalist versus actual capitalist. Like back in the day, you had the monarchists. You had the monarchist, the people who supported monarchy, but understood they weren't monarchs themselves. And people who were willing to say, hey, I'm a monarchist. I don't want a Republican form of government. I don't want a civil government. I want a monarchy. And they were called monarchists. And they were even here in the United States. They did say we shouldn't have a president or elected representatives. We should have a monarchy. But they were monarchists. But no monarchist thought that they themselves were monarchs. They weren't monarchs, meaning that they understood what it took to be an actual monarch in the bloodline, right? So we have a lot of people that are pro-capitalist, but they're not capitalist. They don't even understand what a capitalist is or what it takes to be a capitalist. So what do we call? We need a term to call people who are pro-capitalist but they are part of the labor force. They are capital. They are human resources.
I mean, but don't that fit in the Horatio algorithm? Because most of those people think one day they're gonna be the capitalists.
I
so
agree,
that's why
but
they
until they get there, what do you call someone who is not an owner or controller of the means of production, but they support?
They're capping instead of capitalists.
I think if we could just get them to understand, look, this is a threshold. Because I see a lot of bumbling Negroes like Stephen A. Smith. Well, I'm a capitalist and I don't apologize. If what we need to establish, this is the threshold for being a capitalist. Because dudes think, oh, I got a Range Rover that I'm making payments on. I got a house, McMansion, that I'm making payments on with a 13% interest rate. You know, I get in my bank account, I got, I'm a thousandaire. I'm on my way. I got me my own business, because both of that clip and the other one, hey, people think owning a business makes them a capitalist. As if markets, merchants, craftsmen, even guilds didn't exist before the system of capitalism ever came into play. So I think we need to lay out for people, this is the threshold from being a capitalist versus being a human resource. So we would have more people at least realize, no matter how much you love capitalism, no matter how much you aspire to be a capitalist, until you cross this threshold, you ain't no motherfucking capitalist, no matter how much you love them. If you ain't got that royal bloodline, you're not a monarch. No matter how much you love the monarch.
He's not a capitalist. So the contract that they just hinted to, I saw your contract, you're a capitalist. That means you can't be a capitalist if you get the contract, because you're the contractor if you're the capitalist, right?
You are the capital. You are the resource. You can't be you can't be Ronald McDonald and the cow. Somebody got to be the product. So yeah.
So supposedly Stephen A. Smith did apologize and recant his statement. So what he was saying was that black people love Trump and they're supporting Trump, and they compared himself to Trump because he's similar to our political prisoners and other black civil rights people and leaders, because he's under state repression. So my question to y'all two, I don't know if y'all saw the little beef, is Roland getting a win in this argument now, or both of them wrong and both of them wasting our time?
Well, they're both wrong.
I didn't know that. What's the beef?
Oh yeah, well break that down. Let's lay that out first. Was there some clip somewhere? Do we have
I didn't find a super. But I think there's like Stephen A. Smith and Roland argument clip. But basically, Roland is saying like, "How dare you compare our ancestors to Trump?" And then he started saying, "Well, Trump has 66 indictments, and he filed for bankrupt here, and he's done all these other things, and he's still walking around free. And our ancestors could never do that." So so again, there were people who emotionally connected to the argument would side with Roland, because Roland, the part that maybe is right, that's absurd comparison. But again, Jared, you said both of them are wrong. Even so, Roland argument is not holding up either.
Well, I mean, my point in that they're both wrong is that Roland, again, has set the leftward edge of his politics at the Democratic Party, and he himself is often condemnatory of politics left of the Democratic Party, including socialists or any other form of radical militant. He's constantly defending and advocating aggressively why we as black people or anyone else need to vote for the Democrats, and why, and he's even aggressive and open in calling at the Democrats and the corporate world to fund black-owned media to help carry that water. And as we've shown here over the years, whether it's through Act Blue or any of these other formations, billions of dollars are funneled from the Democratic Party including to black-owned media, which relies historically on that relationship. They rely and have admitted it. Again, the late great Ron Walters, one of his last op-eds was about the how he lamented Obama's campaign initially not paying black-owned media the way the Democratic Party had previously, because it was assumed they had black people on lock. And black-owned media, in other words, he was acknowledging, was Walters, this need financially every 4 years at least to get this hit. So my point is that through that, again, as we were discussing earlier, it makes it harder for those on the left to raise more radical arguments, even about how we should engage electoral politics or anything else, in part because Roland Martin can position himself vis-a-vis a more conservative black person like Stephen A. Smith, and as we'll see here, go off, get his points, come off very well. He's very performative. I've seen it live and direct when he was at Morgan State. He's very good at interacting with the crowd and playing up the power and beauty of blackness. But then all of it culminates in a very soft and liberal politics. And then, but because of a Stephen A. Smith hanging out with Hannity and whomever else, Roland gets to look more. He's re-legitimate. He's given a new legitimacy as a progressive black spokesperson. That's why I think it's a problem. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Black folk don't identify with Donald Trump. Please, who could be in court and the judge issue a gag order, and then this person violates the gag order? Show me a black person in America who could insult a judge and his daughter and still be walking around free. Donald Trump did that. He did that. Black folk don't identify with Donald Trump.
That's most white people couldn't do that either. And I just don't think that's the way to come at it, in terms of, because it was said, because it's funny, because Stephen A. Smith is sitting on Fox News, and Fox News asserted that after Trump's mugshot was released and after Trump's first indictments were handed down, they said that Trump would appeal to the black community. This would increase his status amongst black people. So he's sitting on a network. He's going to fight Roland Martin when he's sitting there chumming it up, fist bumping on the very network that advanced that very idea that Trump's criminality will make him more attractive to the black mass. So which is it? You know, it's just, I just find it's weird in that arena, because like Stephen A. Smith and Roland Martin have identical goals. They just have different paths for reaching it. So when they bump heads and fight, it's kind of weird, because like you said, the Democrats and vote Democrat, where Stephen A. Smith, I don't think he's ever promoted republicanism, has he?
I mean, he called
pretty close. Yeah.
He called himself a centrist, and I mean, he has some.
The Democrats are centrist.
I mean, but he has Republican friends. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard him say much of him himself.
It seems like, yeah, it seems like they're just fighting over methodology. Like you said, pro-business, pro-capitalist, pro-Western, you know, pro-hyper-integrationist, entrepreneurial. I just think the real fight there is over tactic, strategy, and tones, not really outcome, because I think they want the identical outcome. So it's kind of hard to even, you know, referee this fight. You know, just check the coons for rabies and let them go at it.
So, I mean, he claims to be someone who stand with, you know, any oppressed people. And I mean, obviously he don't have any history of that. This is him back in 2009 with his thinking that he's, again, in the center and able to kind of like speak truth to both sides.
Well, he's expressed he wants to run for office, I think.
We wouldn't be plagued by dudes like this if it wasn't for you ball fans. Wasn't he a sports commentator?
But I don't think so,
Still
because
is.
I think Stephen A. Smith would have still made it in. He would have been Charlemagne. Charlemagne had nothing to do with sports, and he made it. So Stephen A. would have been a Charlemagne in hip hop and entertainment. And
you saying if the sports door was closed, he'd have cut one, he'd have made one and walked through it himself.
He's already doing that. Like that dude ain't. Listen, him and Jason Whitlock gonna be wherever they be, even if it wasn't around.
That's another one. They get to play off of each other too. He gets to go at Jason Whitlock and come across as a more progressive, thoughtful person too. So there's even Whitlock is even a rung lower.
Let me tell y'all something. See, I blame Charlemagne's rise. I blame on the sisters. No, because he started being Wendy Williams' sidekick.
Yeah.
Is that where he started?
The sisters.
No, well, I mean, he that's how he got big, but he started in Charleston at Z93, then he went to Big DM in Columbia.
He was doing that,
and then he went to Philly.
Gossip show with Wendy Williams. He was Wendy, so that's the sisters' fault. Stephen A. Smith is all y'all brothers, because ain't a goddamn barbershop back in the day, back in years ago. It ain't so much today, but back in the day, this dude was everywhere. I used to hear his mumbo blah, 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 blah. Everywhere I look, everywhere I go where brothers congregate, fucking Stephen A. Smith was on the goddamn screen. And I'm like, what is the appeal of this guy? And him just yelling and screaming about ball chasing. How do you get that emotionally invested in ball chasing?
Skip Bayless put him on.
I mean, I think it's
this dude on us.
Well, I don't know if it's them or the HBCUs, because I think he came from Winston-Salem State, and there was like him using big words and rhyming and stuff.
So now HBCUs get the blame.
I mean, how did dude get up here?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's probably where he came from, how he stuck and jived his way to the top.
I don't know, but Stephen A. Smith, every morning he would set the tone for the whole hood. Everybody's gonna be debating whatever him and that scraggly white dude would debate about. Dudes be going back and forth over their arguments. I don't know the appeal of this guy. He's annoying. He's grating. That's all. But I don't know.
Well, but again, I think his appeal to black people is irrelevant.
Black men.
I think that's irrelevant at the end of the day. It's his appeal to white men that's relevant.
Brothers, y'all inflicted him on the hood.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't think Stephen A. has like a black audience like you think. Like, I mean,
that's why I'm saying his audience is white. That's why it's the white men that love Stephen A. Smith. The black audience is irrelevant. That's
why Jamie Foxx do to dress up. Why he rubbing elbows and shoulders with every prominent black figure in the media? Maybe he's falling off a little bit, but
I mean, you acting like proximity to whiteness don't make you more popular among black people, but that don't mean they rock with you. Like his proximity to whiteness is what makes.
Jared got one explanation of these friendships, and you gave me another. I don't know what to believe.
So you got to remember that's why. Huh?
He's friends with those white people that put him on. I'm almost certain.
You think they're actually friends?
Yes, Stephen A. Smith. Now, if you told me LeVar Ball or whatever his name, like, or somebody like that, but Stephen A. Smith, even the Shannon Sharp, might not be technically friends with them, but Stephen A. Smith,
let him have that, Jared.
They friends.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, okay.
Also, shout out to Shay. I did taste the Shay drink. My brother had it, and it just tastes like a more softer Hennessy, but it's the same type of cognac. So I don't know what people ranting and raving about that, but apparently it's smooth like a lady.
You got to earn your liberation.